Wonderful. I am Tanisha Hudspeth, your Harris County Clerk, and we appreciate you being here today as we have a lot of good information, important information for voters to know as November 7th is fastly approaching. So, early voting for the November 7th election, the joint and general special elections, begins Monday, October the 23rd, just days away from early voting, and ends Friday, November the 3rd. That is a total of 12 days. Voters can vote at any one of our voting centers. So doing early voting, there's a total of 68 vote centers where voters can choose to work near their home, where they work, at school, where their children go to school. 68 voting locations to choose from during early voting, October 23rd through November 3rd. On Election Day, there's a total of 701 Election Day voting centers where you too can still vote at any voting center during Election Day. Not just early voting, we operate on a countywide polling program and you can vote anywhere during early voting and on Election Day. Except for the Sunday of early voting, which is October the 29th, voting is from noon to 7. So all days are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday, October 29th is noon to 7 p.m. Vote center locations wait times can be observed on harrisvotes.com. Yes, voters can go to harrisvotes.com and look at the locations and look at wait times to see is there a 10-minute wait, 15-minute wait, or no wait at all to vote at a voting center. And so we encourage you to visit Harris Votes to look at those wait times. There is a total of 42 political jurisdictions that Harris County is conducting elections for this election cycle. That includes 14 state constitutional amendments for the entire state of Texas, a Harris County-wide Harris County bond, and of course, City of Houston mayoral race, council member races at large, and many other jurisdictions and school districts. So for more information in regards to each and every contest and for registered voters, we ask them to visit harrisvotes.com. Each voter can see a minimum of at least 15 contests on their ballot or a maximum of about 35 contests. What is so important in looking at your sample ballot and going to Harris Votes is so that you can prepare to know what will be shown on your ballot when it's time to vote. Only voters who live within the City of Houston's legal boundaries are eligible to vote in Houston mayoral controller and city controller races. I'll say that one more time, because during municipal elections, redistricting has taken place, there are new boundary lines, and every voter should go to Harris Votes to assure that they live within the City of Houston city limits in order to see the Houston mayor, controller, or city council member races on the ballot. The ballot is available in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. This is a federal requirement for Harris County, and we continue to translate all items in relation to elections in all 4 languages. Voters are encouraged to review again and print their sample ballot before heading to the polls. Make a plan to vote, right? Not just get your sample ballot. Observe what day you're going to go, what day and what location you want to go to, and make a plan. Voters can print their sample ballot into the voting booth for reference. So yes, you can print that sample ballot, you can mark it, you can look at it and take it into the voting booth with you to utilize as you are voting. Their ballots are only for their eyes. So again, after you print that ballot from the voting machine, once you go into the voting booth to be qualified, here are just a couple of steps that voters should know as they experience the voting process. After you print your ballot from the voting booth, that means you have made all selections. You must scan your printed ballot into the machine near the exit. We have paper ballots that must be done. The scan records your vote digitally in 2 different ways and stores your paper ballot in the secured box it sits on. If you have issues with this process, immediately alert the election staff. Again, once voters qualify to come in to vote, they are given their paper to proceed to the voting booth to make their selections, print their results, and then go to finally have their ballot scanned. Here's how you know your vote has been cast and it was recorded. You will see the American flag on your screen. You will see an American flag on your screen. That lets you know you have successfully cast your ballot. For multiple pages, if a voter has multiple pages, insert one page at a time. So if you have 2 pages, you insert page 1 first to be recorded and wait for the American flag, and page 2 for it to be recorded and wait for the American flag again. If there are any concerns at the voting booth, you can alert your election staff member right away to be able to proceed to assist you and help you out on that process. Well, here's some other things you should know about the upcoming election. When you go qualify to vote, ways to prepare is having the appropriate form of ID. That includes your Texas driver's license, Texas election identification certificate, or any personal ID, Texas handgun license, United States military identification card, citizenship certificate, and United States passport, all of which should have a picture. However, if you do not have those first layers of photo ID, you can then fill out a reasonable impediment form. But again, those first 7 forms of ID is very important to qualify in a timely manner, to be processed in a timely manner. If you do not have one of those forms of ID, a voter can then be directed to fill out a reasonable impediment form and provide other documentation, which may include a voter registration certificate, a utility bill, a bank statement, paycheck, or other certified domestic birth certificates. So again, this information is on harrisvotes.com. It can be viewed as you make your plan to vote this election cycle. Another part of easy way to vote, we have 3 ways to vote. For those who qualify to vote by mail, we are receiving applications for vote by mail now. We have until October the 27th. That is the deadline to receive your application to vote by mail. That is received. If you qualify to vote by mail and you want to vote by mail, we need your application as soon as possible. So the deadline to be received is October 27th. In order to qualify to vote by mail, you must be 65 years or older, sick or disabled, be outside of the county on election day or during early voting. And if you look behind me to my very right, you will see a team of ballot by mail workers who are working around the clock to process each and every application for vote by mail, to prepare your ballot, and to send those ballots in the mail to receive back. As of today, we have mailed over 14,000 ballots for this election cycle. As of today, we have mailed over 14,000 ballots, and as of today, we've received back voted ballots over 2,500. That's over 2,500 received back today. Here are some new laws you should know about, and one is specific to ADA compliance and mobility. Texas Election Code 63.0115 allows an election officer to give voting order priority to individuals with a mobility problem that substantially impairs the person's ability to vote around. So if we have those who are challenged due to mobility, those voters have the right, and the election worker has the right to process that voter immediately and in a timely manner. You will see to my right and left our community outreach plan and our community outreach program, all about represent, make your voice heard in this election cycle. You will see these ads running on television, print, and digital media, as well as radio, about making your voice heard. It includes the deadline dates for ballot by mail, early voting, and election day. We have also held community meetings for the last 3 months across the entire county, offering community outreach and information about the election process. On our website, harrisvotes.com, we have a media kit that lives there that gives you live updates, an election fact sheet that provides all the details of what you need to know this election cycle, as well as a digital toolkit that includes everything from early voting to election day. You should know that we have worked overtime to recruit enough workers for this election cycle. We are ahead in numbers for early voting. We are in full swing. And as we approach election day, we know and can confidently say that we have staffed our election voting centers complete and whole. And if things come up, we have a backup layer of tech support at every single voting location. There's tech support at every early voting site, and there will be tech support at every vote center site come election day. So thank you to the hard people who volunteer and commit their time to civic service to participate in the election cycle. We can't do it without them. As you are here today at our election command center, our NRG Central Count Station, you will witness many things. One is our ballot by mail operation. You will witness there is training. You will also witness that NRG is an early voting election vote center site. So starting Monday, voters can come right here to NRG Arena to cast their ballot in person if they'd like to, October 23rd through November 3rd. However, there are 67 other choices, and we are excited to receive them. On election night, while this is our command center, we will have a total of 6 rally stations where tabulations will take place. That is 6. NRG is one of those, and our main Central County station. There will be 5 other sites where judges and clerks will come to bring their boxes in and report results for that night. So we welcome you in election night again to share real-time information of what is happening between now and election day. And you should know, with our communications campaign, the preparation we have done to make sure there is double the amount of paper allocation at every single voting site. We have reviewed every process. There's enough equipment at every voting site from early voting to election day, and we have allocated double the amount of paper to ensure there's enough paper for every voter to cast their ballot in real time, in real question. All right, thank you so much. I will now take questions. That's right. One of the very first things our office did was immediately get on a call with the Secretary of State and offer and ask for them to come and observe our processes. They came here to Houston from Austin, and they have reviewed our training process, given us feedback on the training manuals. They also reviewed our logic and accuracy testing, where we went through every single ballot style for every entity. And we've received continuous communication. We have sat on multiple meetings with the Secretary of State and have been in constant contact. I cannot answer for November 2022 because I did not run that election. But what I can say to everyone, this is a big county. In fact, it is the 3rd largest county in the nation. And there is no such thing as a flawless election. There is no such thing as a flawless election, but I can guarantee you, in all my years of 15 years of working in elections, we have conducted successful elections. We have followed state and federal guidelines, and we have done the very best we can with an election with a county the size that it is. And so as we move about, we have looked at the best practices that have taken place. One of those things, obviously, was about paper, right? That will not be the talking point for this November election because we have over-prepared for paper for the turnout in this election cycle. We have also made sure that the training was expanded. We went from 70 training sessions to over 120 training sessions this election cycle. So there were concerns about training. We doubled the amount, as well as doubled the amount of recruitment to staff those trainings as well. We have also looked at making sure all of our allocations from beginning to end as well, but we have hired election techs, not just in pods to be able to get somewhere within a certain time frame or radius for every single voting site to be able to mitigate and help support things in real time when issues come up. So we have put some best practices in place since previous elections. One of the I'm most proud of that was already taking place before September 1st is a program called Service Now. Service Now is a program that allows us to talk and speak in real time between the operation side and what's going on out in the field, and for us to track what is going on in the voting field during early voting, during election day, before supply pickup, to be able to address those concerns in real time. And so that is where we're at. I feel confident that we have done everything that we possibly could to prepare in such a pretty small time frame, but I feel confident that this election will run smoothly. And if there are things that come up, which they will, because there's no flawless elections, we will be able to mitigate them and address them in real time. Okay, it's been like flying by the seat of my pants. But I'll tell you what, we have an amazing team. It has been fast-paced. hard pace. We've been spending a lot of hours through the week and overnight to make sure we prepared. But really, it is. We have a massive operation to get this done. But I'll tell you, while I am the leader, there is an awesome amount of staff in the county clerk's office that take time away from their families, that take time away from doing normal operations to serve you, the voters of Harris County. And it is not easy work. Some of those people are standing around you right now, right here, to make sure that we are having, that we put every process in place to have an efficient, fair, and well-organized election. It takes a lot of hands to do that. We've had the financial support of our Commissioners Court and the support to make sure that we get adequate locations for all of our voters. We've had support of our universal services and tech support. We've tested connectivity all over this county to ensure backups, even if, you know, we live in a storm area, right? If a storm happens, what does this county do? What do we do in elections to prepare? And generators at locations are some of the things we've looked at and we've evaluated. And so again, small time frame, but again, it's not my first rodeo. So it was like getting on the old dusty bike that hadn't been on for 3 years, oiling it up, riding it again, and bringing old processes, but also with new laws and making sure that we're following everything to the T. So it has been fast and hard and busy, but it's not anything this county can't handle. And when voters see those election workers, whether it's early voting or election day, or you see my staff, please thank them. Thank them for the sacrifice that they're making to make sure that democracy keeps moving, that the wheels of democracy keep rolling. Thank you. And I did wear my Astros colors to let you know how much of an Astros fighting spirit I have and this entire team has as we prepare. We are going to continue to do the plan as it is. I cannot speak for what was said before in terms of the Astros game, but the reason why we have countywide voting and what is so amazing about that is you can go anywhere to vote. I know there were conversations about schools being closed and things of that nature. That does not mean our vote centers will be closed. We will make sure that we work with the city of Houston and Astros to find out anything that we need to know that could prohibit or cause some delays for us on election day and ask them to support that and help us. I just spoke to the mayor yesterday saying, making sure that we have constant communications with all of our city of Houston facilities. And guess what? Part of that topic was the potential win of the Astros. And so right now we are already having conversations. If this happened, and I hope it happens, because then election day will just be another win for us. We will be fully prepared to work with all of our stakeholders and facilities to make sure that nothing prohibits. The win is a celebration, but that election day will be a celebration as well. So you all should know part of those stakeholders is talking to our other county officials to say, we're doing all we can. We need your support to be right beside us when there's changes that come along. And not just for the Astros, but for potential storms, for potential traffic issues. We live in a big city. We are constantly in contact to have for a B and a C plan. That's right. Well, I'm a smart enough woman to know not to give you a time on when the election results come out. But I will tell you, we have double-checked those processes, and what will help us this election cycle is the fact that we have 6 rally sites, and we don't have everyone coming to one location for a backup. Think about that, 701 voting locations coming to one site can be overwhelming for a site that already has quite a bit going on. And so we know now splitting the 6 sites up, election judges have an opportunity to go and not have to wait in line, but be processed within 7 to 10 minutes of us receiving their boxes and turning over the information. Look, you know, there's hard to give a time on a county this size, but I will tell you, like most elections, after 7 o'clock, once the polls have officially closed, we will have early voting numbers out shortly after that. And we will continue to report every single vote center until we are complete. And I'll be here election night giving you real-time information on what we expect, how many vote centers we expect, and what is happening at our rally sites to best know when we'll have results. I know that's going to be a big night for a lot of candidates, and we will over-communicate to make sure everyone has their answers in terms of where we stay on election night. But my hope is to have it before the next day. Right here? Very good question. I mentioned earlier that this election cycle, for the first time, we have hired election techs for every single location. That is to support making sure our polls open on time. Here's where flawless comes into place. There are times where we have emergencies or election judges may not show up, but we've put emergency staff in place. As a matter of fact, it'll be over 142 emergency staff here at NRG ready to be assigned somewhere in case there is no show up. Plus, we will have techs at every location to still be able to have the equipment ready to go to receive those voters. Yes, sir. All of the above. Up until election day, we are staffing, we are training, and we are preparing. I'm not sure where you got that information from. It'd be good to know whether it's outside of this office or inside of this office, but I can't speak for that information. All I can tell you is we are more than past halfway of staff and everything, and we feel confident that there's going to be enough workers, and training will be going up all the way until the day before election day. All the way until election day. So again, there's a lot of staffing aspects. So I don't know which staffing aspect they're talking about, but we're equipped and we're ready.
Is that it for questions?
Just a last reminder, early voting starts Monday, October 23rd, ends November 3rd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. except Sunday, 12 to 7. Election day, 7 to 7. You can vote at any location, whether it's early voting or election day. And we want the voters to come to the polls with their Astros on. Let's bring a fighting spirit to this election cycle. We thank you, and we appreciate your time today.